Alright, so what I'm working on right now is the tail light, tail brake light. So I switched to this after the LED, um, after attempting to fix the LED light, and you know, being unsuccessful. I already had this as a backup plan. I figured I would need it anyways. Of course, everybody drives by right now. So, anyways, I hooked this up and it worked great. It was really simple and was efficient and effective and worked well. However, this has a, you can see there, and you can also kind of see what I've been working on, but I'll get that in a second. This has a standard dual filament tail, stop tail bulb in it. Due to the this bike vibrating so much, vibrating from the motor running, it vibrates from. I did a little off-road testing, but because the element or the filaments heat up and they are the filament is soft when it's hot, the vibration of the bike while it's hot, um, it destroyed the tail light portion. The brake light portion still works, but this is a sealed unit, so I can't just pop it open and then replace the bulb, and if I did, the bulb would just burn out again anyway. So my this is already the second tail light that I've bought for this thing. I don't want to buy another one. So my solution, since the brake light portion still works, to replace the tail light or the running lamp portion, this is what I'm doing here. You can see I've already started to cut a hole right in the, see there's the bulb inside there, and I'm making these little square notches. That one's unfinished, that one's finished, to accommodate this guy here. So this is the bulb and fixture and wires out of one of the turn signals, which you can see I've replaced here. These are actual enduro. This is another thing I'll talk about later, that I had to replace these because of the vibration back here also. Plus the old taillights were just cheapy, so they didn't hold up under the vibration. These are really nice enduro turn signals, so I'll talk about those later. Anyways, this is out of one of the older turn signals I had on here, that I'm going to stick into there, and then that will illuminate inside there, and that'll be my new tail light. Hopefully it'll run bright enough. This is kind of a test to see, and I thought this was kind of an interesting thing I was doing, so I thought I'd video it. Let me try to set up the camera. Let's see, where's a good angle? I'm using, my birthday wasn't that long ago, and my wife got me this little cell phone tripod and lens adapter case for my iPhone, so I can put lenses on my iPhone camera. Let's see. Can you really see right there? Alright, let's try that. Okay, so back to making these little notches. So alright. So I'm starting them. I'm just eyeballing this. It should be good enough for what it's for. I'm probably going to end up having to replace this tail light at some point, and when I do, I'll go to an LED, which will be better for dealing with the vibration issue. No hot elements to worry about vibrating loose. filaments. I keep seeing elements. I guess it's kind of the same thing. And then, so I get just kind of a rough, I don't know if you can see that. That's the cool thing about this setup is I have a wide angle lens on it right now, so I'm able to get a lot closer and still capture everything. So I take this box knife, razor blade, and then clean up, hopefully without cutting any fingers off. Clean up the notch. That chunk is from drilling the hole. Keep notching this out. That looks pretty good. Kind of a perfectionist with some stuff. Doesn't necessarily need to be. Let me show you what I'm trying to. Maybe I need bigger notches. See this? I don't know if that's focusing or not or what, but that's basically what I'm trying to achieve right there. This has much bigger notches, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you the grommet again. No, where'd I put you? There we go. See the little studs on the side, or whatever you call them, little notches are not very big. But what it does is it goes through the slots and then it kind of does a half twist to lock in. So we shall see here. Yeah, oh, that's really close to that. That's right. The hole's not big enough either. Might be kind of smashed in there. Probably gonna have to widen the hole out too. Try to dig the hole out somewhat. Oh, that's not very smooth. It's kind of jagged. That's better. This is probably really exciting to watch. I'll probably end up editing a lot of this down, especially all the cars going by. But this is the kind of things that you do when you're cheap. And that's kind of the theme of this build, is a budget build, so I figured this was appropriate. Plus I'm just tired of putting brake lights on this thing. Especially, and that's really what turned me off of working on this project for so long, is when the last one burned out. So it was a pretty cool LED one, and I was pretty sad when it burned out. I didn't think that could happen, but it did. I got something that should prevent that, fix that problem now, and I'll get into all that stuff in another video. Trying to dump all the plastic shavings back out through the hole. but little pieces of plastic like to hold a static charge and basically come magnetic and stick to the inside. So that's nice. Again, I'm just eyeballing where to put these notches and how wide to make them. So I take I'm just using a really small pair of wire dikes. Sharpen them up a while back, and then I'm just kind of chomping out the area where the notch will be, and so when I take the blade and cut into it, hopefully it won't just crack and split out. Hopefully you can actually see what I'm doing here. Cut myself too many times to not be cautious when dealing with a knife like this. You don't want to cut towards your body. That's why I just moved my hand that was over here, because the sharp edge of the blade is pointing that way. So if I slip, I'm not going to slip into myself, hopefully, but I'm trying to be careful not to slip too. So it's a balance. It's a dance with safety, a dance with danger. Yeah. See, we're starting to get a little plus sign there. This is my back. Oh. See how that's lining up. Ooh, that hole is fitting a lot better. The problem I'm having too is this flange around the grommet here is going to be smashed against there. I'll probably just cut it away on that side. So, alright. Seems like I'm cutting plastic a lot in my videos lately. Working with plastic. It's a handy skill to develop. You can actually weld plastic. It's more like melting it together, but it can be done. I don't know if they still have that stuff around, but they used to have plastic welding kits. It was basically like a soldering iron, the flat tip on it, and little sticks of plastic, so it was kind of like TIG welding, or kind of like brazing. I don't know how well they worked. I always used to see them in the Eastwood catalogs. I don't know where else you would see them. Eastwood had all kinds of stuff, weird stuff. Eccentric stuff. time I was replacing the rocker cover gaskets on my Sportster, and I was scraping the old ones off with a razor scraper, and I slipped, and the blade on this finger, the blade went in to right there, just went whoosh, and it went into about that far, and then so I went and ran it under cold water to get the blood flow down, reduce the blood flow, and I used super glue and glued my skin back together. You can barely even tell. But there was, my nail was messed up for a long time till that grew out. But my skin held pretty good. I had to. I mean, if I hadn't have done that, I'd had to go to probably into the ER, because the thing just wouldn't stop bleeding. Even as I was gluing it up, the blood was mixing with the glue. I know, it's pretty gross, pretty gruesome. But done a lot of, I've had to do a lot of first aid when dealing with motorcycles. It was this bike, in fact. I don't know if I've told this story on these vlogs about this bike when I first got it. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I remember, because I was telling about the scratches on it, how I wrecked it and tore my knee open. We were camping. I had a quarter-size hole above my kneecap, or on my kneecap, off to the side of it, and they rushed me back to the campsite, and I pulled open the flap of skin and cleaned it out with peroxide and water, flushed it out, and it healed fine. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody else, but I was young and dumb and thought I knew better. Alright, so some of that plastic, you can hear it rattling around in there. I'll have to work on getting that out, but basically that's what we're looking at. Pretty rough. Let's see how it goes on there. Oh, my back. Let's see. Let's trim away some of that flange. Turn. I know this is going to help keep it weather tight, but I can always silicone it or something. Ha! It's not really gonna. Okay. Here, it turned and locked. Look at that. Oof. It's kind of nosing up against the other light in there, but I wonder if that's going to be an issue with vibration. Oh, it's plugged in. Can you see it in there? Not really. Kind of, sort of. You can kind of see the little bulb in there is kind of butt up against the other one. But, yeah. Guess we'll wire it in and see what happens. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, moment of truth. I got her all back together. You can see the little plug going in the top. Flip the switch and see what happens. I have tail light. And brakes. She worked. Alright. Thanks for watching.